Welcome back, everyone. This is Frank Whiskey Charlie Zero Oscar. This is the field setup for the Yaesu FTM-510D. I just recently got this radio on sale. This is my first VHF, UHF true only radio, which is really nice. It transmits in FM. It's digital and analog transceiver, and it will receive FM signals and AM signals. It won't transmit in AM, nor does it do single sideband. Okay, and it does do, I think it does do digital, but I haven't done that yet. So this video is for those individuals that just got a radio and want to know how to put it together, like some of the basics, like a beginner's guide to a field setup. That's what this video is about. So you get a sense of, what type of battery you can use, and how do you remove things, what are the basic things of the radio, okay? So it comes with this bracket, and there is a lever. Is it this one? Yeah, see? So this is the right side of the radio. There's a lever here, and it will move this bracket here. See, like that. Yeah. So I'll push this down and then slide this out. I don't need this. Okay. I don't intend to mount this in the car. It's always going to come home with me. So that's one reason why I removed that, and now it weighs a little bit less. Okay, a couple of things. So this radio, there's a few things that you want to do. First of all, the power cable, right? The power cable comes with one white socket here that we will connect to the radio, right? That's one. And on the other side, it's going to be two bare wires. And I have another video on, I cut those wires and I put an Anderson Powerpole. This is one way of turning on this radio. Anderson Powerpoles are they're becoming of a standard in ham radio. And when you buy certain batteries, like this battery, which we'll talk about in a little bit, the Bioenno batteries for ham radio, they come with Anderson Powerpoles, and they fit a certain way. If you don't have an Anderson Powerpole, and then you have the bare wires, then you can create a different type of connection so you can connect it to your battery. Either way, you're going to connect it to something that provides DC current. Okay, so the cable is necessary to be ready to accept DC power. And what DC power source are we going to use for this particular radio? We're going to be using this one. Now, if you're familiar with Bioenno batteries, you'll see that this is a little bit different than others. This is the Bioenno Power lithium iron phosphate battery. Now, with lithium iron phosphate batteries, those go up to 14.3. Okay, like right now, I'm charging one in the sun, and it's at 14.2. It can go to 14.3. That's the top max. And then when you start plugging it in, boom, it goes down to 13.8 or 7, and then it levels off around 13.2, 13.1. And so this particular battery is 12 volts, 6 amp hours. You multiply those two numbers and it gives you 72 watt hours. And this one is the PN-BLF 1206A. It says right here 6 amps max continuous discharge, or 12 amp peak discharge. If you look at the manual for this one, it goes up to 10 amps. And that's if you're like screaming very loud. But as you know, when you speak, that's when it spikes in current, and you're not going to continuously whistle to the microphone. And this will hold its capabilities to go 50 watts or 55 watts on 2 meters. Okay, so this is enough for me. It's enough so far, and we'll talk a little bit about having some type of watt meter to connect it if you like. We'll probably do that sort of in the end so you can see. But one thing to note is because this is 6 amp hours, you know, its brother, big brother, the 12 amp one, the 12 amp version, 12 amp hour version, of course, is going to give you twice as much charge. But I use this one, and I also like using this one for my FT-857D because it's really portable and light. For this radio, I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm going to find out because the ARRL's VHF contest is coming up this weekend. Okay, so we have this battery. It uses lithium iron phosphate batteries. It gives enough current for the radio to use, or voltage as well, because I believe here, and I don't think it's going to come out very nicely in this video, but right here it says 13.8 volt DC. Okay. Will a car battery be able to handle it? Probably. You would have to test that. I like to have external batteries so that if I do connect it to the car, I might drain the battery. So I always like to have it, plug it into with an external. But that's going to be up to you, right? Okay. So battery is important in this situation. Some other things, like for example, this comes out. This is the head here. So again, on the right side of the radio, and it looks like you can stand it up, kind of. See that? There's a button right here, and if you press that button, press it down, right? Press it down. You can remove the head. Oh, there it is, see? And it pops out. Be careful. Don't strain this. Don't yank it, okay? Because there's a cable in here. It's like a land cable, the ones from the internet. And you can use your finger here, kind of, and then you can snap it out. And then you have the head right here. Let's see. Okay, thought there might be a tiny scratch. There isn't. And then you can see that it has 2 connections here. We'll unhook this one. I don't think this one will fit in there, no. So you have 2. One for the head, right? I think this might be an RJ11. This is an RJ45 connection. And it says right there, control head, or just control. And the other one's for the mic. So you can connect the mic to this, or you can connect the mic to the head. Now I'm showing you this because, you can store it by taking it apart like this, if you need to, in a bag, or maybe, right? Let's say you're doing the contest, right? And you want this unit to be on the ground, right? You can have it on the floor with the battery. You can have this right there on your, where your seat is, or maybe you want to hook it up, right, with a screw and maybe I don't know, a tripod or something in your car. There are ways of hooking this up. I think there's also a kit that you can get from Yaesu. But this head right here, it has a microphone right here. That's very hard to see. But there's a microphone right here. A 6-watt, apparently, microphone. A microphone. Speaker. What am I saying? Sorry. Speaker, right? There's a 6-watt speaker here. There's also a speaker here as well. And you can give it a percentage of how loud you want it here and how loud you want it here. If this is on the floor, right, on your car or whatever, you won't be able to hear very well. But if you put more audio here, you will. Well, that makes sense, right? The question is, how do you connect these two? This is not very long. And you don't have to snap this in so you can listen to it when it's outside, when this is outside. One thing you can do is you can buy the type of cable that they give you, that you can buy this. This has gotten a little more expensive, but you can see it has the 2 connections. See that? And you can pop one on one side and then pop the other one to the other. It doesn't have a side. Okay? It says don't throw it in the trash. And this is very, very long. So you can connect this, put it in the, maybe in the trunk of your car, and you'll still have enough wire to reach the control head. Or what you can do, maybe you have a patch cable that you haven't used for a long time, right? This one will also work on this. Okay. Again, you hook it up. This is a patch cable. You hook it up here. See that? You can hear it snap. As long as it's not a crossover cable. What does that mean? It means that all these little color lines match the other one. So this is a patch cable. And then you put this one on here, which is a little bit hard to do, but it will go in there. See, it snaps. And this one, these tend to be less expensive than the one that Yaesu provides. But the one in Yaesu is flat, okay? And it's made for the radio. This one is not. But I haven't had any problems at all. And then I untie this, and now I can put this on the floor, and I can have this one ready to go, okay? If you've had problems in the past using a patch cable, tell us, and then maybe I'll stop using it. But for now, it's been working fine with my FT-857D, so that's useful. Okay, now let's put this back together. You see it has a certain orientation, right? Try to put it the same way you found it. Again, there are 2 slots. Now remember, you can put the microphone. Here's the microphone right here. This microphone, this connection is smaller compared to my other radios. I don't know why. Should have been the same size as an RJ45. But it fits right there. You can see that? And then you can use this. Okay. But we don't want to do that. We want to connect this cable. Make sure it locks in, right? This does not go in here, I don't think. It can it? Oh, look at that. It can. And you can put it over here, see? It has a slot. Oh, that's nice. Okay, it does have a slot there. I didn't think it did, but now that I'm looking at it, you see it has a lip, and you can put it there. Oh, nice. Okay, let's see if this works. I haven't done this yet. And then this one, making sure that everything fits nicely, right? That goes in here. Take your time. It did snap. Okay. Now, I'm putting this line, right, in here instead of out here. which is nice. You could also put it here, and it is nice and flush. And then this goes here. Now, there are two lips. See this? And not. I guess the lips are over here. Here. There are two lips, I guess, and two slots. And I'm going to aim those slots, so those slots stay. Okay, like it locks. It doesn't lock in there, but it guides me. And then I can go down, and it snaps. Okay, I heard it snap. Wow, look at that. And that's where the cord goes, and it's on the same side here. It's on the left side. Very nice. Let's see if we can store it this way. I didn't want it to store it where's the connection here? We're here, and it was kind of popping out. I think this might be a little bit better. We'll see. And I don't know if I want to use it this way while I'm doing my contest. The VHF ARRL contest. Okay. So we have this, right? And I'm trying to remember the antenna. I believe it's the MA, I want to say 721 antenna that you can mount on the car. I am going to have a video on that, the unboxing of that video, and it'll pop up eventually on my feed, and hopefully I'll put the link there as well, where the comments are. But that I've used it and it works great. I think if you don't have an antenna on your car, that's going to do just fine. The only thing is the cable is kind of thick, and putting it where the window is and closing your windows won't be a good idea. Maybe you can put it in the back trunk, but then it has a rubber seal. That rubber seal is going to be bumped. It's not going to be perfect. So I crack open the window and I put the cable through, and that's the way I do it for the antenna. And the antenna, the other end goes here. One antenna that I can use inside the house and outside is the Ed Fung antenna. Ed Fung, Dr. Fung. I got this one 6 years ago, I think. It's a J-pole antenna, and the J-pole antenna, this one in particular, I think is 2 bands. Okay, it's a leader line, right? I know it's very hard to see, but it's cut a certain way, very ingenious. And then it has an SMA type connection. This one, I guess, is the male version. Okay. But the cool thing about this is that it extends vertically. Okay. And they also gave me this, I think. And you hook it up on a nail or something, and then you just extend it out. And that becomes your antenna. This one, it could hold, I think, up to 75 watts, where the radio will be able to handle that. Well, the antenna will be able to handle the radio's wattage. Okay. This you can adapt to the radio by using a different type of connection. Here I have a coax. It does have a what you call this? A choke. The choke is more close. The choke is here. Let me move this. This choke, and I don't think you need a choke for a J-pole, but if you do, I still have it anyway. The choke is more closer here than to the radio. Okay, so there's a couple of adapters I'll need that I found that I've had for a long time, and you know, this one is a female to female, I think, connection, and then this one, this cable was used a lot in the field when I used my my IC705 radio, or my FT-818, because I can connect it in the front. Here it is. This is not a great connection, but this will work on a pinch. Okay, and then on the other side, right, you can connect it to the radio, like so. All right. So when you're in the field, you have this long cable, and then this antenna. Maybe you want to put it up on a tree. This J pole, or you might have a mast. Soda Beams has a beautiful mast that will work perfectly for this. And definitely I'll do a video on this antenna with this radio in the field. But for now, that gives you an idea. Okay, you don't need to buy any fancy antenna. You can always make one. You would have to read a little bit and figure out how to do it. You could do a dipole with two pieces of wire, but they need to be cut a certain way, certain length, and then they have to be kind of like lifted from the ground, and you would have your VHF or UHF antenna. But for now, I like the Ed Fung antenna. The quality is made very nicely. He also makes other antennas, a tri-bander, and he also makes antennas where I could, if I wanted to, put, and he does too, you put it on a tube, like a PVC tube. It might be a specific one because maybe the size of the plastic thickness might affect it. And then you can have this on outside. They're about $100 shipped with the tube. Okay, you could always go to Dr. Fung antenna. So we have this cable. Let's put this somewhere over here. I don't need it at the moment. Okay, I'm liking this. I did not see that before. Okay, what else should we do? I think let's put this. No, we'll talk about the battery later. We'll put that towards the end. Okay. Another thing that you might want to get is, and you don't have to, I know some people will be like, no, you can do it on your own. You can program the radio. You can use, I don't know, what's the other piece of software? You can use CHIRP or something? I don't know. But RT Systems, very great company. They're here in America. So you're supporting American products. They have the software that you need where you type it out on a Windows or a Mac machine and program that software so you can upload it to the radio. And if you have a similar RT system file from another radio, you just copy and paste. Okay, this one's the YPS-M510 USB. They only allow you to have a Windows or a Mac version. I'm a Mac person. I love my Mac, but for dealing with ham radio, you're probably going to have to use PC. Most likely, a lot of nice software is on the PC and not on the Mac at the moment. Okay, this box will have the serial number to choose the Mac or Windows, and it comes with this cable. And I have a video that shows you like what's inside the box and so forth. One is this, I don't know, 10 pin. I think it's 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 pin, right? This 10 pin is connected back here to the data port. There's an arrow right here. There's an arrow. And I think that arrow tells you to point up. I think it is. Yep, point up. And when you put this, you need to be patient. Okay? You can't force these things. Oh, look, see? There we go. It fits very nicely. It kind of snaps in. That's not going anywhere. Okay? Because if you force any of these pins, what's going to happen is it'll probably bend. And you're like, so it just bends. I'll use something to bring it back, the pin. And then you'll find out that the pin is broke. So I wouldn't. Yes, you can make one of these. Yes, I have made one of these. Not very easy to do, but it's possible. This connection. This other connection, I don't know how to do USB connections, but this USB hooks up to your computer. This one to your radio. You pay attention to what the software tells you, and then you're on your way of loading a whole bunch of repeaters, and the software is pretty smart, believe it or not. Even my Yaesu VX6, which transmits at 1.25 meters, when I copied those numbers in here, it's like, nope, you can't do that. So it was that smart. Now you can listen to those, but you can't transmit. Okay, so the RT systems, that might be something that you probably want to do. It's up to you. I like using this coax wrap silicone tape from RF Parts. I get this at our local ham radio outlet store. This is really good at making things, wrap things up and making them almost waterproof, definitely water resistant. It doesn't seem like it's adhesive at all, but the moment it touches itself, it will tighten very nicely. And I use this for connections. So like this connection right here, if this was going to be outside or I'm going to be traveling with this all the time, I would tape this all the way around. And this, after I tape it, it's not going to get loose. That's one thing that happened to me in the car. One day I was at the car. I was like trying to figure out why it wasn't working. I went all over the place trying to look. And what it was is this was loose. And I figured, wow, all that time wasted. So now a lot of the connections that are permanent, I'll just tape it. But it's not an electrical tape. It is a silicone tape. And what you do is you wrap it up like this somehow, and you use this to cover it. This is very nice. This is a very nice tape. Okay. Another thing you might want to, have is an micro SD card. This one's from what is it called? Microcomputers. Is it Microcomputers? Over here in Orange County. Micro Center. Sorry. Micro Center. That's right. Micro Center. And they have these on sale sometimes. So this is an SD card. And then this was an adapter. And then it has the micro SD card in there. You need the micro. 32 or less, 32 gigs or less. These are getting a little bit harder to find, but they are available. And you have a slot again on the right side of the radio. And you figure out how to slot it in. You got to be, if you slot it in the wrong way, it won't let you. And don't force it or else you'll break it. And here it has an icon right there. So you need to figure out how to put it in there. I guess it has this lip here on and then you can see those leads. They go like that, and then you use your finger to snap it in there, and you can hear it. Okay. If it's not formatted right, it won't come out on. It will not come out on the screen, and you might not be able to format it. I formatted in FAT32. You might be able to format it at the extended FAT, but I did that. This was formatted for a Mac. Did not like it. I understand. Okay, we'll see if we can see the that icon very soon. Then we have a few other things that maybe might be good for us. So this is the repeater location guide here in Southern California. Yes, these don't exist, but they are still useful, and you can find many repeaters still available. I use it while I'm traveling, figure out which repeaters are working. And over here in LA, I can get a repeater at 55 watts to Santa Clarita. Santa Clarita is over there. San Clemente, actually. No, not Santa Clarita. San Clemente, which is somewhere around here, right? But I also recently got the ARRL repeater directory. And yeah, some people will be like, that's a waste of money. You should just go online, get the current versions. Sometimes you don't have an ability to go online. I wish they would only do a California version or a Western version. But you never know. I might go other locations. Okay. But I think these have been useful because checking out the repeaters, the local repeaters that are open and free, are invaluable. All right, so we got the SD card. We talked about the repeater book. Let's see about putting these items in the box, I guess. But before we do that, another thing I would recommend is getting a notebook and writing down some important notes. These are for HF and for VHF. Sometimes I'm doing POTA. I don't have internet like Lake Paris recreational area. That's going to be US 3457. And some weak signal values or SOTA values, national frequencies, weather, and then just notes. You know, my other ones are different than this one. And you'd be surprised what you can write down. I don't know where my pen is. It's over here. These pens are awesome. They are Zebras. The G301s. They're pretty amazing. They're gel pens. Okay, then you should have one right there, or a pencil. But notebook like this, so you can write notes. That's also invaluable too. Okay, let's now let's store this. This is one place I was storing them. This is my box that I used for my IC705. I loved this box, but I decided not to put it there anymore because it does have holes. This is a Plano, one of those ammo boxes. This one I got in, what is it called? It's not Marine West. Maybe it could be. It's one of those, it's a marine shop. But I also have another one that I got. Many of these, you can get them at Harbor Freight, and they sometimes go on sale. The ammo boxes. But here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. Okay. And let's see what happens. Oh, before I do that, oh, you know what? I just forgot about something. And let's do this. Let's do something. The head. On the head, you can tilt the head, again, on the right side. There's 2 screws and 2 screws on the other side. And this one has some type of rail. I'm going to unscrew this until the screw is pulled out enough. You'll figure it out as you do it. Same thing over here. And then I'm going to unscrew this one. You might have to unscrew a little bit the other screw, but the one that has the rail is the one that you want to unscrew. And then it just lifts up. See that? So when it's flat, it has a little bit of an angle, and you can view your screen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back here because I'm going to store it. I think on one method that I store it, I think it's possible to keep it this way. But anyway, when you tighten this, don't tighten it hard. There's no reason for tightening it too much, or else you're going to strip it. Okay? Just lightly tightened. Okay. All right. Now, here's this box. And we're going to move this box. Again, this is the Plano box to store, and this one in particular is to store like marine type of equipment. And if it falls overboard, it has this gasket to seal it. The ones from Harbor Freight also does the same thing. They're very similar. And then this one, what I'm going to do is, the buttons are here on the top. It's going to go this way. And I'm going to try to like lay it as much as I can to here. It's kind of a little bulky. And then I have the battery. This battery is thin enough to go in here, supposedly. I did measure it last time. And you can force it a little bit. It won't harm it. Okay. And you have your connection to your microphone. And if it was here, I would unplug it. But now I don't have to unplug it, right? And I need my power cable. Okay, there. Okay. This goes here. Make sure it's pretty flat, right? Like so, right? Okay. And let's see what happens. Yep. Fits nicely. There it is. These go on sale as well. You know, for, it used to be $5, sometimes less. You got a nice little case. Look at that. Everything you need, except for your antenna, of course. But it's pretty compact. And it's discreet. Very nice, isn't it? So that's one way of storing this, right? And then you have your cable and your radio. It's a little bit tight in there. And your battery. Everything you need. I kind of like this setup. But what I prefer is this one. This is the Seahorse. I think this is the Seahorse 300. Hopefully it's not a wannabe. Seahorse 300. Let me see. I do have another Seahorse here. Does it say? Yeah, that's interesting. You see, this one says Seahorse right here. I guess they're getting cheaper. This one doesn't have the label there. Huh. I'm wondering if it's the same company. Okay, I might have to return that. But at the moment, it's serving me well. All right, so this goes here like this. Over here. And maybe not. Maybe this way. Yeah, it's going to be this way. Why this way? Because the handle's here, and so the pressure's there, and I don't want to pressure this cable in any way. Right? And you fold it nicely. That stays in place. And then you have your cable, right? This soft pad will push this down and hold the radio in place. And you could put this other cable here, I guess, if you need it, right? Always making sure everything fits to its liking. I think I was able to put that. You have to be careful with these wires. You don't want this to be here. Right there. Okay, that might work. Let me see. Right, all the edges seems to be clear. This one lifted up. Right, you gotta make sure all these wires don't get crushed there. It looks like it goes. See? There it is. Nothing's popping. Pretty lightweight. And there's your briefcase. This one's definitely more waterproof. You can lock it if you like, and you're on your way. The only issue here is that the battery doesn't fit. It does fit, but I'm not too happy with it. But here, you can take this away, right? You can take this one away. You're gonna need to take this pad out. You gotta put this down here. Ah, but it says Seahorse right here. Look, C4, Seahorse by California. Yes, you can't see it, I know. Okay, well maybe it is made with Seahorse. It's American made. Let's see. Put this one here. Okay, that fits in here. I don't know if I can use this. We'll put it away. It does come with another piece of foam. It's around here somewhere. Here it is. It does come with the foam. You could chew this out and then place that very nicely in just the radio itself. And then you can put this one on top so that you can put this battery, because one thing I don't like, if I put the battery here, you see, it will fit. A little bit awkward, but you see how it's touching these buttons? Not really, but it's sliding back and forth. So use this cover here to cover that. I'm okay with that. All right. And then you have this cable right here. I don't think you can put this here. No. Maybe you can tie it a little bit differently. Okay. And then, see? It's not even forcing it. And there it goes. Now you have your battery in there. Let me see. Let's see if you could put this in here. I don't know. I mean, you can. I wouldn't. And you can't put this here. That's not going to fit. You could buy the bigger one. And look, the button's over here. You don't want to be pressing that button too often. There is another box that's a little bit bigger, but then it gets very bulky. Oh, look, it says Seahorse here too. Okay. I mean, that's going to have to do, right? If you want to use a cable, you got to put it in another bag. If you want to put this, you have to put it in another bag. If you have an antenna, you have to put it in another bag, right? A bigger box, yes, can fit all those things. But this is sort of discreet in many ways, very lightweight with that battery. And there are other ways. There's these other bags from, was it 411, 511, that I've bought that can probably fit the radio easily. Okay, one other thing too that you might want, and actually we'll talk about the antenna in a bit. I saw something. What you can do is get one of these Apple tags, or yeah, I think they're Apple tags. They use a battery here, just like the same battery from your car remote. And these are invaluable. They're very inexpensive, and they can hide in many places. And you program it, and if somebody takes this, you can probably track it. Okay, so that's something that you might want to do to protect your investment, right? You don't want it to go running away with someone. I just remembered that I have these that I bought from Soda Bean. Let me bring this bag from Soda Bean here. This will wrap around this. You don't need to buy this, of course. You don't need to buy a lot of things. You know, you can even get a used radio, and you don't even need the 510. You could probably get the 500, or even the 400, or the 300 and whatever, right? It all depends on your budget. You don't need a Seahorse box. You can go and get a box from the street, and that would be enough. I get it. We all have our different priorities. And that should be good enough right here. See that? I'm just trying to show you something that you could do. There we go. All right. And maybe I can put this in this bag here. And I like Soda Bean. They're from the UK, I think. And look, you can put some other things in here, right? And you can put this in there. You could probably put your, look at that, your notebook, wow, your pocket knife, and your watt meter. Okay. All right. So let's unpack this. All right. Here's my battery. Here's the cable. This is protecting these buttons and not getting this scratched. It should do an okay job. And you see when this is at an angle, right? It's at an angle, but it's not touching any of those buttons. See that? It's not touching any of those buttons. And when you have this, it's even better. Okay. Then got your air tag. Oh, that's probably what it's called, right? And let me put this to the side here. They say it's important to first connect the radio connection and then the power. All right. See, there it is. So that's there, and then you have the Anderson Powerpole connection, right? Okay. And then the way you read this, right? It says source and load. Source is always like the power source. And then when you connect this turns on. See that? And then this one will go over here. and you'll hear it. You didn't hear it there, kind of, but it will make a snappy sound, like a click sound. Okay, so that's there, and right now it says 0 voltage. It says 3 amps. Well, I'm sorry, 0.03 amps. I wonder if it drains that, or maybe that's what this is draining from that. Either way, I'm going to turn this on. There's a button here, and if you just press it, it won't turn on. You got to press and hold. There it is. Whiskey Charlie Zero Oscar. And then look, you have the SD card right there. Okay. If you press this button here, that gives you the voltage, the high power. Click on here and go mid or low. Okay. Right now I'm on memory. I'll be doing a beginner's guide video to this, but for right now I'm still learning. And you can see it's turned on still, that it does 0.53 amps or 50 milliamps. I know it's hard to see. So this battery here will give me 12 hours just by listening to the radio, probably less than 12 hours. And then when you press the PTT button, it almost reaches 10 if you speak loud. If you don't speak that loud, it jumps up and down between 5 and 9 or so. So this battery can handle it. Right now it's at 13.25. Look at that. I wonder what happened there. 13.25 volts. Enough to power this. And that's where it stays for a long time. And then you can read how much amperage you've been pulling in. Right now it's, I think it was 0.014 or 1/10 of an amp, which is in this little while, right? Let me see. I'll say right now, I know you can't see it. 0.16, not 1/10, 1/100ths, sorry, 1/100ths, or 2/100ths of an amp. Okay, we got that right. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off. You gotta press and hold, and then it turns off. Okay, and then I would unplug this. In the future, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these Anderson Powerpoles. It'll just be easier for me because one thing that I noticed that I might lose this cable here, and then what am I going to do? I don't have a special connection. But if this is Anderson Powerpole, I have a ton of these cables with two ends that are Anderson Powerpole. I just boom, connect it and go. Yes, some of them will not have these fuses, but for an emergency, in a pinch, that's going to help a lot. Okay. Wow, that's a lot, isn't it? That's exciting, actually. Exciting that the VHF contest is coming up soon. This is going to be my first time using a dedicated VHF UHF radio. My FTM-510 also is one, but I never thought of it as a VHF UHF radio, which goes into the whole thing about all-in-one radios. I will probably never sell my FTM-510, only if I really need some money or, you know, it breaks. Hopefully it won't. But Yaesu radios, this Yaesu radio, nice, metallic, strong, just like my FT818, just like my FT991A. That's also kind of like strong and metally. My FTDX10, that's also kind of like a metal one, but not like this, right? Not like, or even my FT891, which is people saying is a replacement of the FT-570, which is not. It could be in somebody's mind, but even the FT, the FTX1, right, is not a killer for the FT-570, which we'll talk about much later. About some people have been dissing that radio for good reason and for bad reasons. Okay, so this is the FTM-510D or the FTM-510 field setup. I hope this gave you some ideas. If you do other things to your radio, tell us. Like you have a video of a Go box, that'll be great because I am going to need one day. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you subscribe. I hope you tell your friends. I thank you for, if you're going to put a thumbs up. I appreciate everyone who supports this channel. I'm really trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. At this point, I'm very close. And I want to accelerate my channel so I can reach more people. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day. This is Frank, Whiskey Charlie 0 Oscar. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.